Hello, on my last video I did a little walk around on my Golf and talked about how projects slow down and stop or get sold or what have you, and I pointed out how bad my body kit is and how depressing it was, and one of the reasons why I stopped working on it. And today I'm going to crack on and try and get the other two wheel arches further along. I'm going to sort of take you through the whole process. I've already done a couple, so I just wanted to test out the theory, how I was going to do it and if it's going to work, because like everything, no matter how long you've been doing anything, you have a level of success and a level of failure. Anybody who makes these videos or builds cars or whatever they do, and they say everything they do just turns out fantastic first time, I'd question it, to be honest. As you notice in a lot of my videos, I'm in work clothes, because what I do is when I come home, I don't get involved in anything. I don't sit and watch the telly because I'll never get back up again. If you watch Tavarish's excellent channel, he says wrench every day, and I sort of follow that ethos. If it's not raining and it's looking a bit dicey, but it's not raining for now, I try and do at least an hour or half an hour. Maybe it turns into 2 hours, but you make some kind of progress every day. And like I said, procrastination kills these things. So I do a little bit on everything. There's no logic to it, you know. People say, why don't you just finish something? I go, well, sometimes you get held up, sometimes you're waiting for something, sometimes you're waiting for something to become available, sometimes you just don't feel like it. I just do a job on something every day if I can. And today is the day of the wheel arches. Now, like I said on the last video, these are very, very poor mouldings. I had a bit of a grizzle about it when I bought them, but the bloke said, oh, nobody else has ever had a problem with them, they're absolutely fine, it must be you fitting them wrong. But they don't sit up against the body in any way, and like an idiot I just persevered. I got impatient and I essentially glued them on and then put screws through the flange into the body to hold them in place, but they're under tension and it never worked. They were trying to pull themselves away from the body. See how bad it is down there, and it's pulled the paint off as well. Now I'm probably going to have to redo the paint yet again on this car, but right for now I want to get these arches on, smooth, nicely fixed on, and I'll just paint them in satin black or something like that, just to make them look nice enough for now. I'm not chasing perfection, I just want to get this car cleaned up with the project back on track, so I can start testing out the running gear, which I'll come to in another video. This is the worst one. This is the front driver's side. Look at that. And you see, this is just trying to pull itself away from the body all the time. This is the front passenger side. It's halfway through the process. And the rear one I've filled, sanded, and it's pretty much there. Right, the first stage on this arch is I'm going to cut this flange off from the angle grinder. Now, I seem to have spent half my working life with an angle grinder in my hand, so I'm pretty cavalier with them. This is a cordless one, and it's no good for when I'm doing the boat, because it just doesn't have the battery life, it doesn't have the power or the torque, but it's great for this because it's controllable and it's not that powerful. So it's a lot more easy to control when I'm doing fiddly stuff like this. So yeah, so I'm going to cut the flange off and gently try and pull it away from the body and scrape the sealer off without doing too much damage. A lot of people have got a favourite tool. This might look like an ordinary scraper, but I got it off the Snap-on Man, and it's got a blade that's just a little bit thicker, quite a bit thicker than something you buy from B&Q or whatever, and it's just one of my favourite little tools. It's just brilliant for this sort of stuff. So I'll need both hands for it, but I'm just going to pry this flange off and carefully scrape this PU sealer off as gently as I can without damaging the paint, and we'll go from there. Right, you see it's peeled off quite cleanly. A little bit of PU left on there. I'm not going to try and scrape every little scrap of that off because I'll just start taking the paint with it. But the next stage is to cover it with 2-inch insulation tape, so I'm sticking to the tape as opposed to the glue. This arch is barely holding on with a little PU, but it will hold it in. I'm not taking it right off because it will hold a little bit of glue still on it. It's holding it in position while I fiberglass it, and I might just have to put a couple of bits of tape on it just to hold it in place. But for now I'm going to try and protect this paint with tape. So I swapped from a microfine cutting disc to my favourite thing, clean and strip disc. These I've talked about these quite a bit, and they're quite gentle. I could use a flat disc, that'd be okay, because I'm going to be filling the whole area. But I just like these because all I'm going to do is just sand away the paint and the gel coat to expose the fiberglass matting underneath, so the fiberglass matting will bond to it. So I'll just clean around the whole edge. There you are. It's cleaned back about 1.5 to 2 inches all the way around, and I make no bones about the fact whatsoever I hate fiberglass. I hate working in it. I know its properties and its good points, but it's horrible, disgusting, itchy, stinky, sticky. Oh, why people would choose fiber, I don't know. I like metal, but you've got to prepare because you've got no time with the resin once you've activated it. So I cut all these strips of fiberglass up, and what I'll be doing is painting fiberglass on to the clean back area and just daubing it in there and trying to really press the matting in with the brush to get as sharp a corner as I possibly can. Like I say, I'll cut it back quite brutally, or basically just remove the whole flange. So I'll just clean all that up so the fiberglass sticks to it, and I'll be looking to get at least 2 or 3 layers of this fiberglass on there to make a decent thickness, and then bond it and probably screw it on with some kind of sort of button stainless steel nut and bolt kind of arrangement, whatever I can get my hands on really. Yeah, so I'll mix up the fiberglass and start painting it on. I don't normally wear gloves because I can't get my fat chubby fingers into them, and it makes my hands all sweaty, but it's an absolute must when you're using the devil's material. I buy it in a gallon at a time, and it gives you a little syringe to put the hardener in to the correct dosage or whatever, proportion, whatever you want. And I don't tend to use this because I put a tiny little drop in to give myself more time with it. I'm sure people will tell me that's wrong and it should be done precisely, but last time I did it on a hot day, it was literally going off in 2 minutes. And what I wasn't told when I bought this stuff in this quantity is that once you've opened it, even if you don't activate it, it goes hard, like that one over there, in the tub in literally a couple of weeks. So you've got to use it all fairly quickly, or you've just got to throw it away, which gets a bit expensive. But anyway, I'm going to mix a bit up and get it dabbed on. Right, there's the fiberglass in. I didn't even attempt to film myself doing it because I was just covered in this disgusting gooey stuff. But my chief goal was to get it good coverage, get it tight into the corner as much as I can, particularly down in this little elbow. And I'm not worried about the bits on the outside because I can trim those off. But there's at least 4 layers of matting on there, and I put a tiny little drop of hardener in the lacquer, so I get the resin, so I gave myself plenty of time. I just hope it's gone off by tomorrow. I won't touch this until at least tomorrow or the day after, so give it plenty of time to go off. And as scruffy as that looks, believe it or not, out of the 3 that I've done so far, that's the neatest one. So as much as I hate working with it, you do get better with everything with a little bit of practice. So it's on to the next one. As I already mentioned, this front driver side wing, by far the worst. And you can see I've got a massive gap in there to fill. I had to be very brutal with this flange when I cut it off. Much more than the others. This is why I've had to tape it on and hold it in position. So what I might do is just fiberglass it in sections, not try and do it all in one go, because if this tape lets go, it's just going to be an awful big sticky mess. So I think I'll probably try and do this in 2 stages. So if you remember this, the first one I did, that's not far off ready for paint now. The second one's sort of half cleaned back with a first skim of filler in it. I say I just fill the bottom and top profiles. I don't try and get the corner perfect, because I won't get it in one go. So I'm just going to try and get the basic shape. Second skim will be nearly there, and then just probably getting this crease as sharp as I can. The weather is much nicer today, and the idea was to get a really early start, but somebody else had better ideas, didn't they, Ruby? Rubes, come on. This fiberglass has had all week to go off, and that's as dry as it's ever going to get, so it's not going to clog the paper up trying to sand it. I'm going to put a load more tape around here to protect the paint, because I'm going to be whizzing around that with a grinder. Now I wouldn't normally use a grinder on any kind of filler or anything like that, but in this case, because I want to make this sharp, I can get the grinder right into the corner with the disc and just rough it out, and then I'll go over it with a sander, then fill it. And the same on the back one. So it's going to be very dusty, very dirty. That's what work style. Like I said, I wouldn't normally use a grinder on something like this, but this cordless grinder, because it's not as torquey as a 241, it's just that bit more gentle and controllable. And as you see, that's just roughed that out. Now, on the other videos I said that some people seem to think the longer you take on something, the better it is, but that would take absolutely forever rubbing that down with a sanding block. But I've just taken the top texture of the fiberglass off, and I'm going to hit that with a block now and just flatten it out, and then I'll be taking the rest of this gel coat off with the orbital sander. So I'll give me a nice key for the filler. So if you're doing any flat area at all, it might seem obvious, but you want to use a block. You can't do it with a bit of sandpaper in your fingers like this. It doesn't work. If you want to make something flat, you've got to use a flat block to do it. It might sound simple, but some people seem to struggle. And I'm going to use the coarsest paper I can get, which is 40 grit. And again, I see people using paper that's way too fine. This isn't the finish. This is the first step towards the filler. So in a way, the coarser paper you use, the better key you're going to have for the next layer, if you like. And again, I can't see any point in not doing it the easy way. So this is 40 grit, and I'll get stuck into this, and in 5 minutes hopefully that'll be ready for a coat of filler. So after a few minutes of sanding, I've got this area pretty flat, but the most important thing, like I say, is this corner. That's got to be as sharp as I can, and so I'm pretty happy that this profile is roughly where I need it. So now I'm going to run an inch of tape all around this flange, and that will give me a guide to trim this excess off, which I'm going to do with the 1mm slitting disc. So that's going to be a pretty delicate procedure, that I don't mark the paint underneath, so I'll have to go very carefully with that. And then like I say, get some filler in it. It's done it in a series of little strips of tape, so it's not a lovely perfect art, but it's a good guide. And I'll do it by eye, then shape it up afterwards. So you can see a nice 1 or 2mm cut. I've done all the way around there, very, very gently. Basically, I'm trying to go about 90% of the way through, and then with my little metal spreader eye, or scraper I showed you, I'm just going to carefully prise that fiberglass off, hopefully without damaging the paint, and then remask it all. I'm going through quite a lot of tape on this job, but I over ordered it, so I got a few rolls. Now, because I put tape on this wing surface, the fiberglass is stuck to the tape, not the wing, although it's a lot of the paint's peeled off because the PU's got to it and pulled it all off. I will have to paint this wing and probably quite a lot more of the car as well, again, probably for the 4th time I painted this car without it seeing the road, if I'm being honest. But I've achieved what I wanted with this fiberglass, because it's now sitting flush right up against the panel. I'll continue to work it. I'll get this flange a bit thinner, but I made it deliberately thick. It's not quite so thick down the bottom, that's more how I want it, but I've given myself a bit of material to work with here. So again, I'll remask it all, tape it on in place, and carry on trying to get it smooth. Now, although I said I'm going to repaint this, I'm going to try and keep the damage to a minimum. So I only want to, this is a 3-stage pearlescent paint, so I have to do the ground coat, pearl and lacquer. You can't blow it in, you can't fade it in. I have to do the whole wing, but I don't want deep scratches that you get from rubbing filler down. I only want to be wet flatting it back, so a few quid's worth of tape is saving me an awful lot of grief if I don't have to take it right back to the primer, and hopefully just minimise the work. I mean, it's frustrating that I'm doing all this again, but like I say, when these cars go on the back burner, sometimes you have to take a few steps back before you move forward. There's a few little areas that are a bit thin. I didn't quite get right with the matting, a bit down there, and round here. This was the worst part of the body kit, where it just didn't meet up with the body at all underneath, and I didn't get the shape quite right. It's better on this side, that's nearly done, but the matting sagged a bit when it was going off. So what I've done is ground it back, and I'm just going to make that flange up with some body repair fiberglass that I bought. It's just a tiny little 250mm pot. I don't intend to use any more of this for a while, so I just bought a little pot, because once you've opened it, it does dry out a bit. So I just bought what I needed. Just knock it up like normal filler. Put a good bit of hardener in it because it's a bit chilly today, and I'm going to get it in really quick. So just mix that up till it's a nice even colour. There you go, give that 10 minutes, that'll go off. I'll stand that back, and then like I say, grind the rest of this gel coat off. This rear one came out the best, I think. I've done the same thing and cut the flange back, but it's still bonded onto the car quite well. It's going to make it an awful lot easier to rub down. So I'm grabbing hold of that and shaking it. So I think I'll just sand all that back and again tape up the body work, and get on with the filler work. So we're a couple of hours in today's effort. You can see all 4 arches are now roughed out, flanges trimmed to where they need to be. I'll just sand these little fiberglass repairs off. Passenger side front, I've cut the flange down and taped it. And again, a little bit of repair on that corner just to stop that cracking. Keep looking at this car. I think it's going to pour down with rain, but I'm going to persevere as long as I can. But what I would say is this tape, once it gets wet and dries, it's an absolute bastard to get off. So if you think it's going to rain, pull your tape off quick, otherwise you'll be spending an hour trying to get it off. It's got the first wheel arch ready for primer. I use this plastic masking film, really convenient. It blows around. You're not really supposed to use it outside though, obviously. It makes a really neat, clean job. And I've gone over the filler with a 180 disc. Now you could do it in 80, the primer would take it up, but you're giving yourself more flatting to do. So no one process can cover the sins of the last. So if you get this absolutely as fine as you can, it will pay off. And I use this 2K aerosol primer. It's brilliant. Really builds like a 2K primer, but it's clean and convenient in an aerosol. You're not going to get any water in it because it's not, obviously you're not using a gun with an airline, and that'll build up, like I said, just like a normal professional, I mean that is a professional product, but you know, like a professional 2K primer using a gun. Right, I'll give you a first sneak peek of the running gear. Now it's rusty where it's been sat about, which is annoying, but you'll see it's 5-stud wheels, because this is straight off a Golf 4 Motion. And I'll go into a lot more detail if you need to see it about how I did all this. Like I say, it's a bit depressing that it's rusty, but I'll clean all that back up, even if I have to drop it all out again once I've got it running, tested and so on. Like I say, the brakes are in, bleeded. It's pretty much ready to go. But we'll go into that in much more detail later. There's the first coat on. Flows out lovely. Absolute fantastic product. I'll give that 3 coats before I flat it. So after 4 days basically of effort on and off, this is kind of where we're at. So I've got them all on, primed and painted in satin black, just out of an aerosol. It's fitting pretty nice. Reasonably happy. Bit of overspray which I'll machine polish off, but I'll only be making it look better for the time being, because there is a lot of paint peel, and it's even worse around the other side. Now I'm not going to beat myself up over this. I'm going to have to paint the car again, maybe just some of it, perhaps all of it, but I'm not even going to consider doing that until the car's up, running. The next job I've got to do is clear all this crap out from inside and get it back to how it was. Get the engine up and running, boring things like getting the windscreen wipers to work, the squirters and lights, indicators and all the MOT stuff. Oh, these are the cap-headed Allen bolts, which I'll be putting around the wheel arches just to give it a bit of extra support. It's essentially just glued on at the minute. If you look at the front, the spoiler kind of goes up into a peak for some reason, which I'm not 100% happy with, but there's going to be a massive intercooler at the front of this because I've got a big turbo on it. And then the next stage, as far as running it, you'll see this was a brand new radiator, but I've mullered it on this support, getting it in and out, clumsy of me. So I'm going to do something with this whole area, make that nice, maybe make a little aluminium bracket up, get a new radiator in it, get it running up to temperature, and start thinking about driving it, and I won't be doing any more cosmetic work on it, paint work, until it's a running driving car. And then in the next video I'm going to go into the engine that I fitted, the running gear, and a bit of an explanation of how I went about it. So if these are sort of videos you want to see, give us a like and subscribe and all that, and that'll encourage me, and just tell me more specifically what you want to see.